Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Friday night on the New Thought Media Network. And now the good news. Well, I'm so delighted to bring you an array of stories today. And my name's Barbara Jean. I'm your host, and I'm really excited to share with you this first story, which is just truly too cute. So, a boy in New Jersey who has established a strange fandom over the former president, Jimmy Carter, has just enjoyed his fifth birthday. Check out his birthday cake. And while little Ryan is fond of ninjas, dinosaurs, and Spider Man, his mother, Laura Ramos, surprised him with a Jimmy Carter themed bash, complete with Carter for President memorabilia, a life size cardboard cutout, and a birthday cake frosted with the president's likeness. But why and how is a young boy from New Jersey the biggest fan of a deceased former president from Georgia who held office more than 30 years before he was born? Ryan's mom, Lauren Ramos, explained to the Atlantic Journal Constitution that it began on the president's day when the boy was 3. She showed him a grid chart of all the presidents to have ever lived, and Carter immediately struck his interest. Ramos later bought him a book about Carter, and Ryan loved learning about the man's humble background. And I believe we have a video. Here we go.
I love
Woo! Jump for Jimmy. Do some jumping. Woo!
That's adorable. Who knew a little child like that would even know anything about President Jimmy Carter? Well, it's been a minute. All right. So, keeping up with the kids, we've got another video for you. This is of a little ring bearer that dozes off as he's coming down the aisle in his mini sports car. Daya, you got that video?
我觉得这一刻的笑声应该化作掌声，对吗？
That's hilarious. This adorable moment, a young ring bearer fell asleep behind the wheel of a mini sports car while making his entrance at a wedding. The whole scene left giggling on September 23rd in China. The video footage shows a little boy fast asleep with his head tilted back, being driven by a remote control by the aisle in a toy car. It's very sweet. That's so funny. All right, everybody. Well, when I was at the hospital a number of months ago, one of the nurses said, motion is lotion. So walking, yes, walking just 4,000 steps 1 to 2 times a week may help you live longer. Yeah, that's the study. An important exercise minimum of 4,000 steps 1 or 2 days per week pardon me, was just identified in a study as a benchmark to help seniors live longer. The study patients are less likely to develop heart disease, says the study's author. The research published online by the British Journal of Sports Medicine examined not only how many steps older women take, but how often they reach their daily step targets across the week. American researchers found those who took 4,000 steps on 1 or 2 days a week had a 27% reduction in the risk of cardiovascular disease and 26% reduction in the risk of death compared to those who completed less steps. The study also found that it was the number of steps taken rather than any daily pattern of steps that was tied to the risk of the risk reductions, meaning even if they were distributed throughout the day and were not part of any single fitness program, the effect was the same. So everybody, get up out of your chairs, Get those feet moving and let's go for a walk. Let's stay healthy and strong as long as we can because we're all living longer. So we really want to take good care. Okay. So here's another story that's kind of interesting. Welsh puppies stopping wildlife poachers in Africa. Yeah, that's something. In the lush emerald hills and valleys of Wales, dogs are trained to protect endangered wildlife a whole hemisphere away. Their scent tracking allows them to turn hunters into the hunted and catch poachers even in total darkness, even hours after they've left their kill sites. After a decade of work in Africa, these special dogs have helped rhinos recovery in areas where their numbers were plummeting. As is so often the case with conservation, whether it's John Muir or Jane Goodall, someone has to be in the right place at the right time with the right solution. And then in this story, it was professional dog trainers Darren Priddle and Jackie Law. After seeing photos of poached rhinos in Africa on the internet, the Welsh couple who'd been training dogs for military work, drug detection, and policing for years decided they had the drive, the knowledge, and the resources to make a difference. We can deploy dogs in the UK to track people to look for drugs, firearms, and explosives. So why could we not look at developing the dogs that we are training for conservation efforts? For over a decade, Dogs for Wildlife, not to be confused with the similar outfit Canines for Africa, has been training Belgian Malinois, Dutch Shepherds, Spaniels, and Retrievers for work in Africa's game reserves. The breed between 1 and 2 litters per year, with training for the bush beginning as early as 3 days old, when Priddle and Law will put different scent objects and textures into their puppy houses to get their neurons firing. The curriculum then continues along a similar path for police tracking dogs. In this case, the Malinois and Shepherd dogs and the sniffing dogs, like the Spaniels and Retrievers, organized working sessions at Welsh zoos ensure that the canines lose the olfactory novelty of elephants, giraffe, wildebeest, and antelope. By 16 to 18 months, the dogs are typically ready for assignment. How cool is that? Wow, look at those puppies. That looks like serious gunpowder. All right. Well, she saw a school bus on fire. What this mom did next saved 22 children. What started as a normal afternoon in East Bethel, Minnesota, quickly turned into a scene of chaos and courage. When Mom Carrie Thorpe stepped outside to greet her daughter after school, she spotted something terrifying: smoke and flames rising from beneath the school bus. Without hesitation, she ran toward the vehicle to warn the driver, Rick Grafton. Kids were crying, kids were scared and freaking out. It was quite emotional and kind of frantic. Together, Thorpe and Grafton jumped into action, helping all 22 students from East Bethel Elementary safely off the bus before the fire spread. Thorpe's Ring doorbell camera later captured the children gathering in front of her home as the bus became fully engulfed in flames. Did we have a video of this one, Dea?
But a couple weeks ago, as her daughter was getting dropped off, Carrie noticed smoke and flames coming from under the bus and alerted the driver.
It was crazy. I mean, I'm just thankful that he was very calm.
They worked quickly to get all 22 kids off safely. Her Ring doorbell captured the East Bethel Elementary students gathering in front of her house as the flames began to spread.
Kids were crying, kids were scared, freaking out. It was quite emotional and kind of frantic.
Within minutes, the fire had taken over.
It moved pretty fast. Yeah, I mean, it was probably within 15 minutes that thing was engulfed. It was crazy to see the tires explode.
School staff and volunteer firefighters arrived quickly.
Wow, that's quite the story. And good thing for her that she saw what it was and got those kids out of there safely and quickly. What a hero. All right, we're going to take a short little commercial break and we'll be back in just a few minutes for more. And now the good news. Don't go away.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience? Or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
Very funny. Parents sometimes can be funny, right? So this mom and dad team up and they text their 27-year-old daughter, and it got a bunch of laughs when it ended up on TikTok. So a Gen Z's woman's hilarious text message from her parents have viewers in stitches. Emily Forbes, 27, shared the screenshots on TikTok. It starts with a photo of her mom and dad, who proudly moved out at ages 19 and 20. Then it cuts to the text message she received from her dad and mom. Texts of encouragement with a heavy dose of sarcasm. Now, did we have a video on this one, Dea? Oh, we've got the shots there. So congratulations, Emily. You switched off all the lights before you left this morning. You're such a clever girl. You make me so proud. I can't wait to tell my mates how good you are with the light switches in the house. It really is a great day. And then Mom writes, 3 cheers for Emily. It's amazing. We're never too late to learn the basics. That's very, very funny. I have a 20-year-old. I wonder if it might work here too. All right. So we've got a Texas man who is known as the fairy godfather of Halloween. Yes, in Austin, Texas, one man is proving that a little creativity and a lot of heart can bring magic to Halloween. Meet 62-year-old Christoph Wagoner, known by locals as the fairy godfather of Halloween. Several times a week, you can find him digging through piles of clothes at thrift stores, searching for items that are shiny, furry, or sparkly, anything that might become part of a costume. I want everybody, all the kids, their parents, whatever, to feel like they're getting the same thing that somebody went out and bought. At his home, Wagoner washes, glues, and sews the garments, transforming them into one-of-a-kind costumes. Each fall, he hosts free events where children can pick out their dream Halloween costume. No cost, no stigma, just pure joy. Wagoner has been doing this for 9 years, spending thousands of dollars of his own money and countless hours of work to make sure every child can experience the excitement of dressing up. Even though he still works full-time and pays over $5,000 a year for costume storage, he says the reward is priceless. The goal is to make people better than they were before the event, he says. If there's somebody there to help you, then you're more than likely to turn around and help somebody else. Through his kindness and imagination, the fairy godfather of Halloween is showing that the true spirit of the season isn't found in candy or decorations. It's found in giving joy. Oh, way to go, Christoph. You are a very fine man. That is for certain. All right. So wood carving. This is interesting. A wood carving club has turned a city's tree trimmings into treasure trinkets. This is a great idea. In Yorkshire, England, an ancient profession turned hobby is helping to keep tree trimmings out of the landfills among other benefits. The Yorkshire Spoon Club, as the name suggests, will jump at the opportunity to turn an upturned oak or alder tree into a spoon. But this collection of hobbyist and professional wood carvers turns out far more than just eating utensils. Meeting once a month in Elliker's Wood near the small city of Bradford in North Yorkshire, the Yorkshire Spoon Club will quickly turn any municipal tree that's reached the end of its life into a work project. When Atlantic storm Amy passed through the area last month and knocked out a major alder tree in the town of Shipley, club member Clive Nutton took the whole of the tree away from the surgeons after the surgeons had reduced it to logs. The club, BBC reports, then processed the town's departed tree into all sorts of steins, bowls, and spoons. It was very happily received, and it's in the process now of being turned into all kinds of lovely things. They're reflective of a good time spent in the woods with lovely people and reflective of time in nature. Dave Watson, the Spoon Club's founder, says that these fallen city trees are a big help to the dozens of club members who don't live near the woods or have equipment for harvesting timber. And they don't have to harvest timber because here it is. So Watson holds workshops in Elliker's Wood, where timber is plentiful. But for the rest of the month, some of these carvers will literally be listening out as they go about their daily business for the sound of chainsaws. Often tree surgeons are removing something that's dangerous or unwanted for some reason, and it just gets chipped up. So they're usually only too happy to pass a bit of wood over. And what a great use for it. Like, I love that. People are so creative and remarkable. I just am so, so impressed. All right. Well, here is a story that, wow. First African nation to eliminate river blindness treated millions with ivermectin to achieve great success. Among the many bizarrities of the COVID years was a sudden demonstration by major media outlets of ivermectin, one of the most used medicines on earth, which just helped Niger to become the first country in Africa to eradicate a debilitating parasitical disease. Now, I'm not going to try and pronounce the professional name for this, but we'll just call it river blindness. Is spread via the filarial parasite transmitted through black flies, which breed near fast-flowing rivers. At its ugliest, it can cause severe skin disfigurations, permanent blindness, and epilepsy. Present in 26 African countries, as well as parts of Brazil, Venezuela, and Yemen, its transmission has severely reduced in the Americas following wide-scale distribution programs of ivermectin starting in the 1980s called the Mectizan Donation Program managed by the World Health Organization. This wide-scale ivermectin treatment has continued until present day, such that this year, on World Neglected Tropical Disease Day, Niger was confirmed and honored as the first African country to eradicate this disease, which they achieved through 4 decades of ivermectin administration, an activity that also eradicated the elephant man disease, lymphatic filariasis. Niger is one of the poorest countries in the world, but with simple strategies and an effective medicine was able to replicate the success seen in much wealthier countries like Colombia and Mexico. Though dry in many places, the Niger River is a major African river system that is a hotbed for tropical diseases. The report lauded the country's strong national disease control leadership in the program and cross-border partnerships in helping to eliminate the 2 diseases. Senegal has also ended the mass treatment phase and is moving into a period of monitoring and targeting response that Niger successfully navigated during its journey to eradication. Wow, what incredible news for the people of Africa to be able to get rid of a disease like blindness. That is huge. All right, well, a flock of goats hits the slopes of a Vermont ski resort as eco-friendly landscaping. I think we have a video of this. Do we have a video? No. Oh, my mistake. My mistake. All right. So, is there a faster way to ruin someone's morning than by putting a team of landscapers with mowers and blowers next door at 8 a.m.? Yeah, it's pretty loud. Well, the neighbors of Jay Peak Ski Resort in Vermont, that's a headache they're no longer forced to suffer, as the resort has taken on a flock of sheep and goats to manage the vegetation on the slopes during the summer months. Nicknamed the Chew Crew on the line of merchandise sold to the animal's adoring fans, the 150 small ruminants keep weeds and other overgrowth in check whilst reducing erosion, cutting back on fossil fuel use, mimicking natural seed dispersal, and best of all, doing the job in silence, apart from the occasional bleating and baying. Sorry. It can take months of mowing and weed whacking to get the slopes ready for winter ski season. But so far this year, Jay Peak has opened their 385-acre mountain property to landscaping by goats and sheep, which administrators described as an easy decision. The animals were hired from Cloudbrook Grazing, a farm from a small town about 65 miles north of Jay Peak. Vermont's Agritech Institute has provided a sophisticated digital fencing system that quickly establishes virtual borders of each ski slope and prevent the goats from overgrazing or wandering off. The project is in a trial period where the flock will chew down 25 acres under the watchful eye of the Institute and Cloudbrook's shepherd dog, Helios. If it proves effective, the plan is to bring the flock back next year with a greater area of work. The goats are great at the trees and the goldenrod and other types of brush, but the sheep really do well with the grasses. So by mixing the two together, we get everything covered pretty well. How fabulous is that? What a fun story. Goats on the ski hill. Okay. Well, our last story today is about vitamin K, and it is forming the basis of groundbreaking prospective treatment of neurodegenerative diseases. Vitamin K, an essential nutrient that prevents blood clots and aids in bone health, could also be an effective long-term treatment for neurodegenerative diseases. A Japanese study team took the molecule, created a novel, altered form, and used it to improve the transcriptions of cells into neurons at a rate of 300% higher than controls. If replicated in humans, such an effect would slow or even reverse the progress of diseases like Alzheimer's, Huntington's, and Parkinson's, and would be one of the first to be demonstrated to do so. Wow, would that be good news for a lot of people? Though possessing of this neuroprotective effect, natural forming vitamin K compounds are likely not substantial enough to prevent the onset and progression of these diseases. In a groundbreaking study, researchers discovered they synthesized 12 different vitamin K analogs that included a metabolite of vitamin A called retinoic acid. This analog exhibited a threefold higher neuron differentiation activity, meaning it simulated neural progenitor cells in mice to form new neurons. This novel form of vitamin K interacted heavily with the cellular receptive, which is known to be involved with neuron intercommunication and which, if inhabited in mice, creates behavior alternations similar to those seen in dementia patients. Our research offers a potentially groundbreaking approach to treating neurodegenerative diseases. A vitamin K derived drug that slows the progression of Alzheimer's disease or improves its symptoms could not only improve the quality of life for patients and their families, but also significantly reduce the growing societal burden of healthcare expenditures and long-term caregiving. Well, isn't that just some good news? Well, on another front, of course, the Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers hit the field shortly. And let's see where it goes. World Series begins tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific. You're watching And Now the Good News here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm Barbara Jean. I'm your host, and I'm so grateful you were here tonight. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye for now.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Spiritual Center, Kitchener, Om Center for Spiritual Living, La Mesa, Satya Center, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for making New Thought Media Network a place to be. Please come be you. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.